Welcome to The Writing Wedge. I'm Cheri, classroom coach. Do you have a copy of Handwriting Brain Body Disconnect? I only ask because today's episode is all about that book. Pause for the episode if you are in a safe location and go grab your book. Did you know that today is Dysgraphia Awareness Day here in the United States? Monday, October 7th is International Dysgraphia Awareness Day. Some of the hashtags that are often used for dysgraphia is hashtag dysgraphia awareness, hashtag understanding dysgraphia, hashtag learning disabilities, hashtag supporting neurodiversity, hashtag inclusive education, hashtag dysgraphia, hashtag impact learning. My friend Deedra Sherm is hosting today a support for our students and dysgraphia awareness. Her Facebook group is having an event from 10 a.m. Eastern till like 3, 4 o'clock this afternoon. So click on that link and listen to what she is sharing. People often ask me, does my kid have dysgraphia? I might respond very easily and say, yeah, if they have illegible handwriting. But dysgraphia really is more than just illegible handwriting. Back in July, one of my certified dysgraphia specialists came to me and said, hey, can we do a book study on your book? And I'm like, sure, go ahead. Our summer group study was small, but it was mighty. Many of you were on the beach or up in the mountains taking some well-needed rest. But now let's get back into the swing and take a look at what happens in Handwriting Brain Body Disconnect. We're going to step into the beginning of her book study, and we're going to be talking about the symptoms of dysgraphia and the intervention types of dysgraphia. And did you know that on October 12th, that's 10 days from the launch of this broadcast, that Teresa's going to be doing a visual perception lab in Disability Labs. So the link will be in the show notes. Let's listen in and hear what Teresa had to say. Our leader of the day is Teresa. Teresa is a veteran school-based occupational therapist. She took my course 2 years ago and has stuck around and is getting coaching to start her own business as she has her last year in schools and is planning on retiring. I've read her book many times. If you guys haven't gone through, her course is fabulous. I had an aha moment with one of my kids at school. We found this child and we were like, wow, she's dysgraphic. Let's do something about it. The school were like, no, there's nothing we can do. And to the point where she was struggling. I now have her in 4th grade. She's doing fabulous. I found Cheri's book and found her, and we were on the phone for 45 minutes our first time together. And I found that I had to be connected to her, and I haven't left her since. She's just a wealth of information, and so is her book. Every time I'm with her, she makes me go and find more information, which I'm a researchaholic, so I have to just suck it all up. She's got me connected with John Lee now with the math. I just keep getting more and more information. But in doing her book, there's always those pieces that you're going to find more information on. What I did was took her book into the 4 sections that there are, starting off with the chapter 1, 2, and 3, looking at the foundations of what dysgraphia is, and it's putting your information down on paper. But one of the things in going through and writing some notes down was the visual-spatial information. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but whenever I have a lot of kids, I'm finding that's an untapped area of OT that we're not addressing enough of. Because I have my kids sitting in front of me and I'm realizing that visual-spatial is not an area that we're giving enough support to. I think that's another area why these kids are struggling with their writing. They're slower than the other students. I'm going to refer back to my 2nd graders. I have a group of 6. I'm going to keep referring back to them because they are my test case. They all have a lot of these typicalities that you're going to see. A lot of them are slower than the other students their age. Odd positions with their wrist on the paper. One time as I was going through this, I had an aha moment because one of my kids does not have the slate board. I'm like, oh, I'm going to try the slate board with him. A mix of upper and lower case forms. I have this pet peeve with my kindergartners. They don't get enough support in knowing which is the upper and which is the lower case.
and there's no continuity. I don't know how it is in your schools of how they teach what when. So there's that discrepancy of the upper and lower case. And then also informing the letters, what comes first. Cramping fingers or hands. You're going to see a lot of kids that shake their hands. Irregularities in the formation, size, and sequencing. Poor letter organization of thoughts. This is typical of the dysgraphic kids who are able to tell you a million things, but they can't get that down on paper, and that's their big struggle. Difficult managing margins. I have a kid who did a wool. They kept going across the page, and all of a sudden, they got to the end of the line, and they kept writing down the side of the column. They don't know to stop and go to the next line. Insufficient pencil pressure constantly. Either they're too light or they're too heavy. They don't get it because their tone is off. Poor spelling. A lot of that's going to come into play with your ELA people. They'll be a big asset to you. Intentionally watching their hand while they write. If a child is not watching what their hands are doing, then I do make a note of that when I'm testing. If they're looking elsewhere, I like it when they're watching what their hands are doing. But when they're not paying attention, there's a play in that. But when they're watching a little bit too much, that's when they have to think about it. Awkward pencil grasp, I have the gamut. I have teachers who are on top of me about that. There's been research out when they come into kindergarten. I always tell the teachers I'd rather work with legibility as opposed to the grasp first and see what I can do. Poor fine motor skills. A lot of these kids definitely have poor fine motor skills with Cheri's help and in the research. I've also been looking at how much retained reflexes play into their writing, avoiding task writing. Even before I did Cheri, I had a child who we were trying to get more writing, and he was like, "Nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it." He was an older student. At that point, you know that you've lost them. I do not like that point. I do not like to lose any kid. I want it. I always say to them, we're going to take it little by little. And that's when I will introduce AT things, typing, a scribe, and things like that. I hate to get to that point where I've already lost the kid because they don't want to do any writing. Letter and number reversals, tons of letter and number reversals. But we've got to see what is causing that. Difficulty with written expression. My kiddo had a lot of difficulty with that. But there were other things that played into it. So you need to figure out, is it language? Is it auditory? You got to figure out and piece it apart. What is the problem? Or is it just the motorics? Need extended time to complete tasks. I have so many kids who need that extended time. I can't tell you how many IEPs we write with extended time. That's okay. You just need to get the teachers on board. They cannot go to these kids and say, "Oh, come on, you're lazy. You need to rush. You need to go a little bit faster." These kids are already anxious because they feel and see their peers already going faster than they are going. You can't have the teacher on top of them as well. The kids who are significant will be either on a plan or maybe in a classroom with a teacher who's maybe SPED certified. But then you're going to find those kids in regular ed who these teachers are on top of 24/7, and they're going to say, "I don't know what to do anymore." Those are the kids who are struggling, and these teachers don't know how to do it. Those are the kids that we need to support all the more because they're in regular ed and need that help. Cheri's got a lot going on with that, with her Tier 1 interventions, and I think those are the kids that are going to be addressed by some of the things she does in her interventions. There's a lot of other people who talk about dysgraphia, and they may have less categories than Cheri, and I like Cheri's categories because she branches them out a little bit further, because she breaks down more of the writing categories, because they're more specific. In her visual-spatial dysgraphia, she's got where it involves the sensory input that a person receives from their environment. It's more sensory based. There'll be the motor D or the motor dysgraphia, and that's motor deficiencies. So of those students, there'll be a motor component. Then she has the memory dysgraphia or memory D, MEMD, and that's a brain body disconnect. That's those kids where you're going to see with working memory. I get so frustrated with those kids along with them that I just went through that with you the other day. They just can't hang on to that. You have to go through it with them over and over again. It's almost like you have to give them a script every time to help them along. They need that. They almost need that guideline all the time. They're good with it. They just need it. They need that concreteness with it. Word and sentence formation dysgraphia, the SFD, they are impacted by language. I have a great team at my school. I have an MSN teacher, so she'll say, I'm going to work on this. Can you work on that? If she comes to me and she's going to work on, for example, the alphabet, I'll say to her, okay, I'll work on the formation. She works on identifying or the letter sounds. And I'll say to her that I will do putty or I will do hand exercises. I will do the tracing or I will do pathways. I will do the underlying components and then she will do the other component so that we work as a team together. When you're in a school or when you have those people in your environment, it works great to work together because you're coming at it from two different directions. Then you have the paragraph form dysgraphia, and those are the kids who have the cognitive neural pathways to develop creative prose. They need a lot more assistance. They can put down words, but it's putting it together to make sense of it. So you may find these kids needing a lot more support when it comes to putting it together. And those would be your older kids. So they can probably say, oh, I did that in maybe third and fourth grade. But when they get into the upper grades, they're really struggling and they just can't get it down into a sequential order.
The first 8 minutes of her 1.5 hour class. The book study lasted for 4 weeks, so there's much more information included. So grab a copy of Handwriting Brain Body Disconnect today. The link is in the show notes. You were put here for such a time as this. Go be awesome. Go be brilliant. And take these lessons that you are learning back to your classroom. This is Cheri, classroom coach. Next week, you're in for a treat. Kirk Lunde is going to be here talking about environmental impact on learning and how he became a math tutor. I am looking forward to those insights from Mr. Lunde.